Hello everybody, welcome back to another voice lesson for this month. It's good to see all of you, and I hope you're learning things and receiving great information from the UPCI Music Ministry teaching series. All kinds of great content out there, and I hope you're grabbing a hold of it and applying it to your situation and growing as a musician, as an individual. Today we're going to talk about a really valuable topic as a singer. Going to talk about creating warmth in your tone. Creating warmth in your tone. You know, warmth is a vital component of the human voice, and this holds true not just for singers. It even applies to your speaking voice. Did you know that people will often judge your likability, your trustworthiness, your credibility, your kindness? They will judge those things in part by what you advertise through your voice. So having a warm tone is incredibly valuable and desirable. It's important because warmth is what makes a voice able to be listened to over a long period of time. You know, there's a reason that we love the classic crooner's voice, the Frank Sinatras and those type of singers, because it's soothing, it's comforting, it feels heartfelt, it speaks to our soul. I'm personally blessed to have a pastor who's a singing pastor. And he is one of those individuals, Pastor Tom Trimble, that has such a warm voice. And I can attest to the fact that in my role as a saint, in the moments that I'm sitting and listening to him both sing and speak, I know that I never get tired of his voice. It doesn't wear on me. It doesn't grate on me. And I'm blessed with that. I'm blessed with the gift of warmth in the person that's leading. Because the opposite, when you have someone who's edgy and their voice is piercing and it's a little bit shrill and a little bit harsh, that actually is very hard on the human ear. And what happens is we actually have fatigue happening, ear fatigue, when we have to sit and listen to singers that have that shrillness and that harshness and that lack of warmth. So that's why this lesson is so critical, because we don't ever want to be people that are trying to bless the congregations that we're singing for and leading worship with. And we're actually not blessing them. We're actually causing ear fatigue. So that's why today we're going to talk about this incredibly important topic of creating warmth in your tone. Now, I know that some of us have voices that are just more naturally shrill or reedy. Reedy voices are those that just have a little bit of that woodwind sound. If you think about the difference between a woodwind instrument, think of a very reedy instrument like maybe a clarinet or an oboe and the quality of that tone, and compare that to the rich warmth of a low string like a cello or a French horn. You can imagine immediately the difference in quality of tone between those instruments. Now, it really doesn't make one instrument better than the other. There's moments that clarinet or that oboe, the cutting through quality of their voice is incredibly desirable in the arrangement. So I'm not here to say that everybody that has a reedy voice or a little bit of a bright, shrill tone is a bad singer. I just know that in sustainability, that even the stronger, shrill, more naturally biting voice has to think about warmth and bringing warmth into their tone. So let's talk about what is it actually that creates warmth in the human voice. Well, I'm going to talk about three specific things, and these are all topics we've talked about and covered through the years in other lessons, but I want you to see how these three areas kind of tie together and lock in to create this warmth concept that we're talking about today. So the first way that we create warmth in our voice is to be sure that we are creating resonance. Now, just as a review, some of you might know this, others of you might be saying, wait, time out. What do you mean by resonance? So resonance is the space that you create for the sound. It's the space where the sound can bounce around and have space to be expressed. Resonance is created in the back of the throat and in the mouth. Resonance is like the classic church. I don't mean the modern church we go to. I mean like the Gothic church, the cathedral in your local community that has the large dome ceilings, and you walk in and there's a 8-second delay in the translation between someone speaking up at the pulpit and how many seconds it takes to reach the back of the room. Those kind of places exist. And those buildings are examples of incredible resonance. Well, the human voice is intended to be resonant. We don't just produce the sound in our vocal cords and it there's an opening right here and it just comes out. God created this whole area of our mouth and the back of our mouth and our palate, the soft palate that can be raised to create resonance for the human voice. So that is incredibly important. Resonance is created by space. So when you sing, you can't imagine that everything is shut down and squashed. Oh, how I love Jesus. Okay, everything's squashed. I sound awful. I know that. I understand that. Oh, how I love Jesus. That space inside the mouth, you want to create resonance. When you open up spaces and you allow the sound to have room inside the mouth and in the back of the throat, you also naturally create overtones. Now, overtones are kind of an odd thing for a lot of people to understand, but basically the principle behind overtones is that when you sing a pitch, when you play a pitch on an instrument, you're never just playing or hearing the single note itself. There's always other tones that exist that ring out in that series. And so overtones happen in the human voice. Oh, when you have resonance, there's actually other tones besides that single pitch that I'm singing that exist. So resonance creates space, it creates overtones that beautify the human voice. If you sing pinched, if you close off your mouth, you actually cut off the overtones that add the warmth to your voice. So remember that in order to practice having resonance, you've got to think about space. You've got to think about allowing the sound to linger in your mouth a little bit. Not that we don't sing it out, but we're aware of the space, of the tone. Oh, creating that space and beauty for the tone. That feels a lot warmer than where I'm shutting. I'm deliberately dropping my soft palate and I'm sending the tone up through my nasal passages and I'm not engaging the space in my mouth. All of you who are watching this lesson should actually take a minute and play with that feeling of resonance. Try it where you smash the tone. Try that. Smash it down. Right? Do it now. Pause the video if you need to. And smash that tone down and feel the lack of space. And then create resonance. And you're going to instantly hear, you should be able to in your own ear, the presence of warmth in your tone because of resonance. And resonance is created by space. All right, second way that we can add warmth to our tone that's very important is to have a natural, unforced vibrato. Not a fake vibrato, right? Nothing where we're like doing our jaw. We've talked about all this. We did a whole lesson on vibrato. But remember, the way to achieve warmth is to employ one of these tools that we've already talked about. So have a natural, unforced vibrato. When we sing only in straight tone, and when we don't allow our vibrato to ring out, it often contributes to this pinched, shrill sound. There's many times with my choir, especially with the sopranos, not trying to pick on sopranos today, but there's many times that the soprano section in their higher notes will sound very pinched, and they don't sound warm. They actually sound, to be honest, kind of annoying. And you're sitting there thinking, ugh, man, I just can only listen to this for about 2 more minutes and then enough is enough. What do you do in those moments to get rid of that tense, reedy, shrill sound that is so characteristic of sopranos in their high range? Well, one of the instant ways to fix it is to ask them to bring natural vibrato into the tone. So they might be singing, every high thing must come down, every stronghold shall be broken, and it all feels just kind of tense and reedy and shrill. But if you ask them to employ space in their mouth, resonance, and you ask them to bring a natural vibrato in, it's automatically going to warm up the tone. Every high thing must come down, every stronghold shall be broken. And you ask them to bring that vibrato in. Do you hear the difference? It's literally like night and day. The difference between, I don't want to hear that anymore, and wow, I could listen to these ladies sing all day. So remember that this applies not only to you as a solo singer, but it makes a huge difference in the sound of a team that is singing together, whether that be a small worship team or a large choir. All right, so natural, unforced vibrato will bring warmth into your tone. If you want to work on your vibrato, remember, it never can be forced. You can't make it happen. You literally have to breathe, sing. Breathe, sing. And let it happen. You've got to find that natural waveform of the human voice, and don't try to force it, because it's not going to really solve the issue of warmth. But remember, vibrato is beautiful and it makes your voice warm. So add it in so that you sound luscious and you don't sound tense and thin and tight. Finally, the third way that we can actually create warmth in our tone is to be sure that we are free from tension. Tension itself creates a tense sound. Now, that's incredibly simple and very logical, but how many singers forget about this when they approach singing? I want to ask you an honest question. When you get ready to sing, whether it's on the worship team or a solo or even for your own enjoyment and practice in your home, how often are you trying to reduce tension before you sing? Chances are not very often. When we come in and we have muscular tension and we have bad posture and we're all tight and worked up in here, our sound is naturally going to be more tense and it's not going to feel warm. So before you sing, you've got to loosen up. You've got to do all those exercises you know. And I know this isn't a lesson on loosening up exercises or warm-ups, but just a reminder, do things that release tension in your neck, right? Not this quick, but do the long version of them where you sustain your head to one side and you feel the release of tension. Do exercises that are intended to loosen up your shoulders and to get rid of all that tension up here. Do exercises that put you back into good posture so that when you open up your mouth, we're not feeling the sound effects of this. Like that tension, but we want to feel the sound effect. I love him. I love him because we want to feel that relaxed vibe in the singer. This is a big deal with nerves. See, nerves makes us tense. And then the tension keeps us from breathing. And the lack of breathing ruins our breath support. And suddenly we have this tight, shrill, bitey voice coming out of us. And we wonder, well, where did that come from? When I'm by myself, I can sing beautifully. When you go to sing, be sure you are freeing yourself from tension. It might be as simple before you sing a solo in church, as standing in your place of preparation, whether that be on the pew or somewhere on the platform, and just saying, Lord, I want to do everything I do today, God, from a place of being relaxed and glorifying you in my body. And Lord, right now I just release all tension from my body, and I want to sing from a posture of honoring you and not from carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Learn to pray those prayers over yourself. And you'd be amazed how much more warmth in your tone will be communicated because you're not carrying all the tension and the nerves into the ministry moment or the performance itself. So 3 things: resonance, a natural unforced vibrato, and being free from tension. These are the 3 practical things that help to create warmth in your tone. Now, before I send you away for the day, I want us to do an actual exercise that will help you to find a natural unforced vibrato. It will also really help with resonance and helping to feel the tone in your mouth, to feel a warm tone in your mouth. And it's certainly an exercise that doesn't bring any tension in. So I'm going to actually grab a piece of paper. And I have my paper here, and you can see that I have the 2 consonants NG, kind of like sing. So I want you all to go sing, and you should feel the NG where the tongue, the back of the tongue touches the palate. Sing. You feel the back of your tongue raising. We're going to actually go through these, and we're going to go nga. The NG engages our mind in where the palate is. So we touch the soft palate, then we release it, and we feel the openness. Sing, sing, and you should feel a warm tone in your mouth. And you can actually do this by going through all these vowels listed. So you can practice. And then you can practice like the word seam. The NG again employs the mouth. It employs our awareness of our palate. Then we release the palate and we open everything up inside to the vowel. This is the 3rd one. Same. And let's do apple. Apple. Here we go. These are really important because a lot of times we make vowels like sound really ugly. Vowels like E and often sound ugly. We go E and but you hear the difference. Is ugly. It gets that tone rounded. So this is a great list to practice. You can practice E, A, and I. Those are 7 vowels. And I'll just hold my paper nice and still for a minute so you all can take a look at that. And practice that so that you're feeling the warmth in your tone. If you're practicing the I vowel. You actually create more resonance by putting that NG before the I sound than if you just go however way you might want to say that I. So when you're practicing that, look for the resonance, feel the resonance in your mouth, and also allow your vibrato to flow freely. All of these things we've talked about today are going to create warmth in your voice. And who doesn't want to be that warm singer that people say, man, I could listen to you sing for days and never get tired of your voice. That's the goal. Be blessed. Have a great day.